Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're gonna keep reading our targeted individual handbook. And what's next on the list is the RNM or remote neural monitoring controlling abilities. Now there are, let's see, 16 bullet points, and we're gonna cover all of them. All right. So the first one is control of one's feet and toe while standing. One's body lifts up on toes all by itself without thinking about moving. Yeah, that's called the twitch on your toes. It happens, especially if you're getting gang stuck. This happened to me one time where I was just face fronting the store, and all of a sudden, both of my calves activated, and I kind of just did a little hop. That was strange, but it was extremely uncommon. It happens. Two, hip swaying back all by itself while standing and sitting. Yeah, so one sways. Your body also tends to sway when you're just standing there. It's completely normal. Everyone does it. The only thing is that when you're getting gang stalked, all of these movements, they just seem so strange because you're aware of them. So a lot of times one does these things and one usually doesn't pay attention. But when you're getting gang stalked, especially if you're paranoid about being controlled by direct energy weapons, you're gonna be more sensitive. You're gonna be looking out for these things. So it's almost like a confirmation bias. You're gonna be actively looking for it. Next, jaw. So 3A, clenching of the jaw, making you think that you are angry. Clenching of the jaw, so that happens also if you're using any type of illicit substances. B, opening of jaw and mouth involuntarily. So I didn't really experience the opening and closing of the jaw, but what I did experience was a lot of involuntary tongue movement. When you're getting gang stalked, your nervous system kind of forms a shadow of you. I'm not sure how to explain it. But it's pretty much like like if you close your eyes, right, and then you imagine yourself running, and you can almost fire up your muscles. So it's well, let me elaborate a little bit more. Like if you, let's say that you just don't want to move your hand, but you imagine yourself moving your hand and doing this. So you use your mind to kind of just feel how it moves and then to move your fingers. So imagine that sensation, but out of your control. So like your inner self kind of takes control of that, and that is what makes this so uncanny. That a lot of times you can feel that, but with any type of your body, such as your hand moving, such as your toes twisting in really weird ways. Like I literally felt like my toes were like bending like backwards, but it was just that. It was just the nervous system just going a little haywire, and the nervous aspect of you, like the 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 neurons that detect tension and motion in your muscles are in a daze. So they are the ones that are pretty much giving you all this false information. So a lot of times you can feel like your toes are moving in really weird directions, or your hands are moving in really weird directions, but it is literally just your neurons. I forgot what the name of this particular neurons, but there are neurons that sense tension, your Golgi tendon organs, your a lot of nerves, that they're of neurons that pretty much tell your brain in the current position of your body. So those kind of go haywire, and they just kind of like give the signal that they are twisting in really weird ways that you are completely unable to move them, and that's what makes you feel like they're actually moving. Additionally, yeah, Additionally, I guess that this person was feeling it on their jaw. Now, now we're going on about opening and closing of the jaw and mouth, clenching of the jaw, making you think you're angry. I clenched my jaw, but I never thought I was angry. I never put those two together. Maybe this person believed that the clenching of the jaw would produce him to be angry. That's how he post. That's why he wrote this. So this is notice that this is more of like a perception thing. Now, 4, facial muscle control, showing emotion, sad and happy by control of the brow, facial muscles, and tears. I never felt that. I never experienced that, but I can see how that can happen. 5, tears, control, involuntarily tears in eyes without emotional thinking. That happened to me. It happens sometimes when like your eyelids are like too greasy, you know, and you're not sad, or you can just yawn and then your tears come out, or maybe you just haven't slept enough, and your body is trying to produce more tears in order to lubricate your eyes. Now, 6, smell, memory, and olfactory. Rnm stalkers can access specific memory of smell or create a desired smell, and one can smell it by electric stimulation. They are probably getting assistance from artificial intelligence or analytics software to access those specific smell memories. No, no one can do that. Simply no. I mean, I'm assuming that like there could possibly be like a good smell. Someone could be wearing a cologne or something. I mean, before you attribute anything like that, such an intense as to a AI producing smells by getting things of your memory. I mean, if did you feel a smell that is kind of that you feel that it's kind of that has been dug up from your memory, pay attention to your current state of mind. Are you hearing voices? Are you really sensitive to everything? Or is your mind racing? If your mind is racing, if you're tired, if you haven't slept, if you really feel that everything is like gang stalking related, the chances are that your nervous system will start doing things such as producing smells. So I would only consider any type of possibility of direct energy weapons if I am 100% sober, 100% rested, 100% on top of things, and then I would maybe consider it. But if you're tired and your mind is racing and you feel like gang stalkers are attacking you and you're completely paranoid and my nervous system feels haywire, then yeah, chances are that your nervous system will do weird things, which will literally just mean that you need a rest. But don't attribute these things to gang stalking. I mean, this is just a someone who drank the gang stalking juice. Now, 6A. While I was sitting in my room, I smelled cow dung. That's funny. That's weird. Now, I mean, so what? What if he lived in a rural area? I wouldn't know that. B. While doing exercise in my room, I smelled strong smell of urine, as if I had urinated in my pants, which I didn't. Huh. I also smelled piss. So, 1, I don't know if we had a dog. 2, that's happened a lot of times, but I mean, you're in San Francisco or something, like you're bound to smell piss somewhere if you're in San Francisco. Even here in San Diego, which is supposed to be the finest city. And let's see next. C. When I close my eye to sleep, immediately I smelled fart, which I didn't fart and there was no one near me. I don't know that. He could probably just passed out and then farted and then woken up. That can happen. Now, blah, blah, blah. 7, eyelids. 7A. Eyelids blink fast without any control involuntarily. B. One of the eyelids partially getting closed forcefully. That can happen. Again, nervous system doing weird things, dissociation from your nervous system and from the activities of your nervous system. That's going to happen. 8. Going blind for half a second, blacking out the vision one can't see. You know, that happened to me one time. So I was I was at the gym, and I think, the most reasonable thing was that the lights went out for a split second and then they went back up. This person is not giving me any details. Like, I was at the gym and literally everything shut off and then everything turned back on, and then everyone was just like that. I felt like if they were waiting for me to to uh to to yell or something, because it really did feel like everything just, like, my vision just blacked out. But I feel that someone just, like, the light went out for a split second, because it was literally that, just a split second. And I felt like maybe they had access to my mind, and maybe they fucked with my eyesight, and they did that, which is completely logical. And the most logical thing was that the lights went out for a split second. So when that happened, I just told myself, Efren, don't react, don't do anything, just don't. It's a trick. Don't react at the moment, just don't. And then I did that. So now that I have more clarity, I can tell that it was the best choice. So whenever something intense happens where you feel like they're even inside your head, and that, even for a second, I felt like they were erasing my thoughts. Because I remember one time I had just placed my lifting straps on the floor, and then I got up, and then I just forgot where I left them. And I freaked out, and I told to myself, do they have the ability to go on my mind in my mind and actually erase the thoughts that I literally had, like, literally 30 seconds ago? So, well, I didn't react. Like, that's always the best choice. It has never failed me. And no, the reason was that I needed to sleep so that my brain would work more efficiently and better. And if you're getting gang stalked and your mind is tired, it is logical that you're gonna kind of have a little bit of buffering in your brain. Now, now we're doing a 9, control of fingers. On phone display, my index finger was zigzagging on its own. Rnm Stalkers claimed that they could control my index finger by relaying white noise whispered to me. Okay, so how are they gonna control your finger? By relaying white noise. So listen how this person writes. Rnm Stalkers claimed that they could control my index finger by relaying white noise to me. This means that the person that wrote this was hearing voices, and he was talking about, and the voices were pretty much telling him this narrative. So the voices are it's pretty much your mind trying to make sense of whatever it is that you have in your mind, whatever thought you have. So if you're thinking about gang stalking and you start believing all these things about direct energy weapons, and you have this weird sensation of your finger, and it feels like twitching, and it begins like moving on its own, then I mean, of course, the voice is gonna tell you that, because that is that's gonna be your first thought, even when before you know that you had that thought. Thumb and index finger rubbing together, indicating money gesture. R&M, also white noise whisper voice, relayed money along with a gesture. My wife and son also did the same money gesture the next day. Well, that's a really common gesture. I mean, there's nothing special about that. C. Involuntary twitching of right hand index finger like a nervous tick. If you're nervous, you're gonna have nervous ticks. You're gonna have ticks. There are a lot of movements that you know that you have that you don't pay attention to, because you're so in your mind that your body is expressing the emotions that you're feeling. But most people are not aware of their body movements because they're so enthralled in their own thoughts. so that whenever you do notice that you're doing these physiological expressions of emotion, it becomes a total surprise. In the beginning, it could be just like a lack of understanding, which could be the reason why this person is misinterpreting all these things that are happening. So when you're nervous, your body will do things that like by its own, and it's pretty much a reflex. It's normal. 11. Tongue, tongue, tongue twitch, involuntarily at rest or when speaking. Gang stalking causes this sensation where pretty much you feel like your own spirit is moving. I'm not sure exactly how can I explain this to you, but it is the same concept as if you're imagining yourself move your hand, and then you still feel like your neurons are firing, so you can kind of with your mind, and you kind of feel the muscle moving like if it was actually moving. Well, imagine that sensation, but not in your control, when it's literally just happening at random times. So you're gonna sometimes feel your tongue twitch, involuntarily arrest, or when speaking, your tongue is gonna move. You're gonna have involuntarily tongue movements. That happens a lot, especially when if you're like nervous or in a dangerous situation, you're gonna involuntarily bite your own tongue. It's normal. It's a normal reaction to stress that your mind does, that your body does, without your permission. But if you're getting gang stalked and you have been getting gang stalked hard for extended periods of time, then you're gonna notice it a lot, and you're gonna feel like it's an outside force working your tongue. I remember that when I was getting gang stalked, I began feeling like a lot of really weird sensations on my body. But most importantly, I felt like when I say the shadow, I mean like a spirit version of you that is typically on you. Like let's say that my hand is here, but then I would feel like a phantom hand move. Like if it was my hand, like I would feel my hand move, but my hand wasn't moving. And you feel like the phantom hand, is just doing weird bends, weird movements. And if you're asleep, you will confuse those movements with your actual movements. It's really interesting. So tongue will twitch involuntarily. That's normal. That is a normal sign of stress. You can look that up online. It's super common. Now, let's see. Make you cough. Everyone coughs. When you're getting gang stalked, you will get significantly more knots on your throat. And when you're under stress, your body will reprioritize producing saliva, and it's gonna put it like really really low. So you will have a drier throat because your body, it will try to, when it's under stress, it's focusing on having energy, on giving energy to as much muscles as possible, and to making sure that your nervous system is super fired up, because you need super fast reaction times to whatever happens to you. And saliva production goes less into the priority, because you're not going to be consuming food when you're under stress or under attack, when you're in fight or flight mode. So you will have a drier throat, and you will be coughing a lot. It's normal. It's normal during any type of stressful situation. 12. Bladder. Involuntary release of urine. Rnm white noise whisper relayed bladder control. I never had that. I wonder how old this person was. Or maybe this person just drank a lot of water and didn't go to the restroom, or just really pissed himself because of how scared he was. But they don't control your bladder. That's a bunch of bullshit. Let's see. 14. First, I heard Rnm white noise whisper voice relay something about brain mapping. Then my elbows twitched and knees twitched. Then Rnm whisper relayed bladder control. and involuntarily release my urine. This is just a delusion. So this person probably had to pee, and he's just imagining that all this stuff is real, and then he probably just couldn't hold. God knows for how long this person was holding his urine, but this is not true. Gang stalkers had no one can control your own bladder, only you. Wrist motor control, bending involuntarily like a twitch. Wrist motor control. And yeah, if you're nervous, you haven't slept, you're not rested, your body's gonna have all these crazy reactions. 16. Make one faint. I faint started with feeling of heavy head, as if my brain being under heavy magnetic field. Rnm Stalkers have done this to me 2 times. Then they white noise whisper voice relayed to me that I am having a brain tumor, which I don't have it. Wow! So this is super similar to when I was having that delusion where, well, when the voices were telling me that I was having a stroke. Do you guys remember that? This is the exact same thing but different. So I felt like I was fainting, and my head began feeling heavy, and I was being really sensitive to all kinds of noises. I have felt the heavy magnetic field at other times. Well, Rnm Stalkers have done this to me twice, and then the white noise whisper relayed to me that I'm having a brain tumor. So this person, when this was happening to this person did not have any type of control over the voices. He was still antagonizing the voices. So the voices were like his enemies. And this person, this is why the voices told him that he was having a brain tumor. Notice that he calls the voices the white noise whisper voice. I called my voice shit cunt. So the name for his voice was white noise whisper voice. So it probably sounded like a whisper to him. Mine just sounded like a female cunt. This is so fascinating. So it's when I ended up in ER. You know, check my videos. There was one where I tell you about my experience with the voices about having ER. But I feel like my experience was like not technology based. Mine was just like hypnotism based, and it was like the coolest experience ever. I love that story so much. So now, make one faint. The faint started with feeling heavy head. I felt that as if my brain being under heavy magnetic field. I'm going to talk about the magnetic field again another time. Rnm Stalkers have done this to me 2 times. Then the white noise whisper voice relayed to me that I'm having a brain tumor. Well, my story was completely different but similar. So I felt like I was fainting. I had to call an ambulance. And then I didn't feel like if my head was under magnetic field, but my head was feeling really hot. Then this has happened only to me 1 time. And then, but this person went through it twice. That's crazy. I mean, that's why this person is so like in the gang stalking juice. It's so intense what this person is going through. Then the white noise whisper voice related to me that I'm having a brain tumor, and the voice told me that it was way too much information to know about gang stalking. So the gang stalkers, so I believe that I was having a stroke. So, and which I don't have. So I have felt like 2 times really heavy magnetic field where there was 1 time where I was just sitting at Starbucks, and I literally felt my entire body being like pulled by some type of magnetic field. And then another time I was literally walking home from Sprouts, and and I literally felt a magnetic field just pulling me. Like for no reason whatsoever. But just know, if you're having a shit cunt, an Anna, or a give me a second, a white noise voice relay, or whatever it is that you're gonna call it. I saw on a Reddit post that someone called his voice Jennifer, and he believed that it was AI. So the everyone is gonna have like different kinds of stories, and I find it super interesting. Um, that this person's voice was like this whole experience of gang stalking to this person was all technology. Mine was a mixture of hypnotization, manipulation, and technology. But then the technology went away, and then the spiritualism came into it. I'm gonna tell you later about how the stories that you experience during gang stalking actually have some type of actual meaning. Like there's actually some truth to the stories. Um, that actually relate to you in a way. Like we're gonna investigate them and how they tie into my actual psychology. I think you're gonna enjoy that a lot, and they are stories that I really that you will connect one way or another with these stories. It's something really, really beautiful because gang stalking, honestly, I felt that gang stalking kind of helped me release a bunch of anger that I had. First of all, because every time I had a delusion, I always won. So I felt like I was having a victory every after every delusion, and I felt good, almost like I was recuperating my energy. Also because, well, the voices became when they became my friends. They were, they told me, "Hey, you won this psychological game, and you acted like nothing happened." That was my victory. Was not act like nothing happened. Do not run, even though when you feel that everything is falling apart in front of you, that the world is chaotic. And I just had victories during my gang stalking. There was one time when I was fooled to behave like an idiot. I'm gonna tell you about that later. But that was the only time that it actually tricked me, which it was fun. It was fun, but it was so exhausting. Oh my god. So now, I thought it was just a game, to be honest. But I didn't realize that by the end of the game I was just behaving like an idiot, just going like this. Oh my god, how embarrassing. Well, whatever. I mean, so that's the one thing, is that just to have you like, that's one thing that I feel like gang stalking does, is just to have to produce you to behave like crazy. And let me tell you, they successfully did it with me for like one time, like a whole month, I think. But that's it. After that, I understood. I learned from that, and then I applied all of that. Which it was called. Well, I call it the game of making you look, and it was fun. It was fun. It was really fun because I became really good at it. Okay, so now we're going on my next. Oh no, our next video we're gonna talk about mind control. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye. I'm sorry. I have to add something else. So, in conclusion, gang stalking will make your body produce all these kinds of sensations that are very unfamiliar to you, such as like feeling your spirit moving like crazy. You're gonna feel all these really weird sensations, and that is because that's what happens when your body is constantly in fight or flight mode. When you're paranoid, if you're using any substances, you're gonna have all these unfamiliar sensations, and the best way to describe them is what most people think they are, technology, because these sensations are so alien to you that you will believe that they are some type of crazy technology. And if you're hearing voices, the voices will tell you what they feel like, and that's why the narrative is technology, technology, technology. But it is not technology. It isn't. It is just that gang stalking puts your everything of you, physiologically and psychologically, in this state of mind where the only plausible explanation is technology. That's the only thing that makes sense. But it's not. The actual only reason that makes sense, that won't make you sound all schizophrenic, is your own body producing those sensations. Once you see that, once you realize that the reason that you're feeling all these sensations, these voices everywhere you go, 24/7, is because there's only one thing that is with you 24/7, and it is with you anytime, any day, every hour, wherever you go, everywhere you go, and that's not gonna change unless you die. And that is your mind and your body. There's no technology. It's only your mind and your body. Gang stalkers are expert manipulators, and they have manipulated your body to behave in ways that are really unfamiliar to you. And the entire gang stalking operation is if you learn how to control your mind. Learning how to control your mind is the one thing that you have to do to stop to beat gang stalkers. So, and it's really simple. It's actually really simple, but it took me 6 or 7 years to figure it out. So, first of all, keep a video journal. Why? Because having a video journal will help you make more connections. Because the thing is that when you're getting gang stalked, you have no one to talk to this about. You don't. And there are things that can be really close to you that you cannot tell to your friends. You know, like a lot of the stories that I have told you, I would have not told anyone who knows me. I just wouldn't, because it's just super outlandish. So, even if you can make a YouTube channel and keep it private. You know, no one has to see it, and you only have to speak about it. It is better if you allow other people to see it, because that way you can make more connections with what other people are going through, and that way, if you have more people to relate to, you can see the consistencies and the similarities in between what you and other people have gone through, and that way you guys can actually like speak to each other and kind of just speak about, you know, make each other feel more comfortable and less alone. Since I began having this channel, I feel so comfortable. I am really happy. And I think that actually it had an effect on the gang stalkers, because I am in the same station that I was last time that they were shaking my car, and they just completely stopped. I don't even get the glances anymore by anyone. It's crazy. Anyways, so second, you need to do something that will completely envelop, that will make you feel better. That you need to have a hobby, a goal, something. So everything, something that takes over all your free time, that is not self-destructive. So for me, it's this channel. If I'm not working, if I'm not at the gym, I'm recording. That's it. Or I'm playing Zelda. So now I'm playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's freaking hard. It's a freaking hard game, and that's why I go back to Bayonetta, because I am good at Bayonetta. But anyways, or I'm doing research to talk more about these videos. So yeah, so you have to have a hobby. Like the first thing that worked for me was taking a cybersecurity course, which I didn't finish. Because I knew I had to do this before I forgot everything that had to do with gang stalking. Now, third, you have to work on yourself. You have to make sure that you polish yourself, that you groom yourself, that you make yourself, that you prove that everything that the gang stalkers made you believe about yourself was wrong. So, I felt like an awful person, like a creep. Like I couldn't even listen to the song "I'm a Creep" because I felt like a freaking creep every time I would hear it. Like I would feel that gang stalkers just put that song for me. You know, it was awful. So you have to eliminate all those self-perceptions by not being that anymore. So you have to, you know, try to do something of yourself. Also, you have to learn how to not let your mind take free reign. If you're getting gang stalked, this is the hardest part, because you have been granted access by gang stalkers to parts of your mind that you didn't have access to before. And it can drive you crazy, or it can make you a genius. And I would prefer to become a genius rather than a crazy person. So you have to learn how to, you have to really control all these new ways of using your mind. So you can try to replicate the sensations of like your hands moving. You have to get familiar. You have to replicate, take control of. You have to try to take control over the sensations that you were feeling, like the throat moving, the subvocalization. Like I can do that now. I can do the subvocalization, but it's all with your mind. You have to try to replicate everything, every sensation that the gang stalkers made you feel to the best of your ability so you can know for sure that it was produced by your nervous system. So that's why I can pound myself whenever I want. That's why I can I can make the sensations go to my foot. I can intensify them, I can move them. I can do the taps, that's really weird. I can move the pain around if I'm having any type of pain, and that, or if I'm having any type of painful sensation. I am still, I am still able. I still feel some of the pain that I was feeling on my teeth, but it has minimized. Also, the thing on my left foot is a lot less, like significantly a lot less. It's like almost gone. I think it will take about 2 years for it to be completely gone. That's the amount that I'm giving it because I still feel it. Yesterday was kind of intense, but it's not painful anymore. It's kind of entertaining. Also, what else? That's it. Oh yeah, so you cannot let your mind just go around. If you have to try to push the perceptions that I have given you. For example, if you see a car driving behind you and the car behind you has your headlights on, you're gonna possibly really think it's a gang stalker following me. So you think, is it daytime? Okay, are they daytime running lights? Maybe it's really early in the morning and they were in automatic, or possibly that person just didn't turn them off. Also, maybe they're fog lights, so, or maybe they just like them on because they look cool. So you want to put every other type of possibility in front before you are fully convinced that it's a gang stalking. You do not, by default, want to be assuming that it's a gang stalking. You want to, the default, be all your perceptions like you had them before you were gang stalked. And that's it. If you felt like there was an airplane for you, I felt that one time that there was an airplane right for me so that I would see it by a gang stalker. And someone on my messages also told me about that. They felt the same way. But let me tell you, it's easy to find where the planes are going. You go on Google, you can, when there's like a plane going above you, I'm not sure what you can type, but you can look it up and you can see what airline is it, where it's going. And that way it's going to calm your mind because you're going to see that the plane actually has a purpose. And it's not because of gang stalking. So that is a default sensation, the default thought that you're gonna have if you're getting gang stalked. But you want to get rid of that. You want to stop having those default thoughts, and you want to apply that for everything. Any type of thought that is your default of gang stalking, you want to replace it. And it's in the beginning you're gonna have the thought that, oh, it's a gang stalker, but then as you keep pushing the old perception back in front, it's gonna take like a little bit to take over, and you can still have the but you're still gonna have the possibility of it being a gang stalker, but it's not gonna be your first option, your first default anymore. And when it's not your default anymore, your life is gonna be returning back to normal. Thank you for watching.